So we bring you the best. You're about to learn from the best. Are you ready for it? Put your hands together and welcome them as they come.
Good guys, good afternoon. You guys have a good time? Right, we do this. I do this every day. So teaching people every single day. Okay, so I have about 5 schools, about 200-300 people per school per month. Okay, so I do this a lot. And guys, believe it or not, the people that are here, the people that missed it. But you know what's important? The winners are here, correct? The winners are here, correct? I guess you learned something really good that was going to help your life forever. Are you interested in one thing? We're going to make you feel so good about your soul. You're going to fly out of here. You're going to be positive thinking that you say, man, I am glad I came. It was worth the time. Okay? As you know it, this is the best of the best, guys. A lot of people ask me questions. Frank, what can I do to become a millionaire? Think like one. Think like one. Isn't that correct? Yeah. My first job when I came to the United States, I wasn't born here. You know what my first job was? Cleaning toilets. But my first job cleaning toilets, and I said, I refuse this. I have no idea. I know what I can do. You know why? Because I know who I serve. So we are here for one thing only, because God gave you the power to get a mind to think. And when I looked around the room, I see a lot of people see her as I do. And it's a big benefit, you know why? And I found out why the reason we're bold. Information gets faster. Correct? Is yes or no? So today you're going to attack him, okay? A personal friend of mine, basically, we worked together. He was a mortgage bank up the mortgage. Based out of the real estate program, associates program, instructor, mortgage license. You need to got 29 licenses. If that's enough. Yes, also have a driver license now. Okay. So I basically have been in this business for 37 years. Maybe some of you are not even alive back then yet, right? But when understand, I want to show you the knowledge and power that you can exceed anything you want, as long as you put your mind to it. If you accept failure, you're a failure. So, but you have to think like a winner. Why? Because listen to me, in my life, all my life, I never lost a day of work. I was never late. I never was late for anything. If I'm on time, I'm late. Because I live by this little rule. If I want, I'm going to get it. People say, Frank, you never get it. The sheep will be to watch me. I'm a self-motivated person. Nobody, you know what motivates me? When I put my money in my pocket, I got money. That's motivated. If that was motivated, you're not. Correct? How many of you want to be self-employed? Like we talked about that a minute, right? How many of you want to be self-employed? So who has a job? Who has a job? You know what job stands for? Just over broke. Isn't that correct? Just over broke. Are you just over broke? You're just going along. You're going to be financially independent, successful. You're going to be time to say, I am not weird. First of all, let me say this. I heard it here before. Say, think of yourself first. Isn't that correct? If you do for yourself first, there's nobody to do for you. You have to think like a winner, act like a winner, and work like a winner, and know what show the belief that you have. You know what I mean? When you can make it, you can show people what you are. Okay, but it's like I said, I love the mindset. Think like a winner. Never be doubt yourself of anything. Because God made everybody the same, everybody the same head. And some people use it, but people abuse it. Okay? So, Frank, right, we're going to show you a presentation, guys. We show this presentation, something in a room of 500,000 people.
Not 500,000. 502,000.
500 people. 1,000 people. Good 1,000 people. But it's also about guys. This presentation, I hope, right, if you guys, I don't know if you guys can see from here.
Yeah, no, that's what we're going to do.
If you guys move this side, move this side, because I want you guys to pay attention. This is such good information. Okay, all of you. Okay, it's such good grass, but you guys have to write. Pay attention, read it, take notes. Okay, we're going to make you guys millionaires and retire financially independent. Make sense? Okay. You need to start, right? You guys got to basically, you got to think. You see, how much money you need to retire? What do you guys think? $1 million? Is $1 million enough today? Can you live with $1 million today? No, you can't. No. 5 million, 20 million, 25 million. What is enough? Enough. What is enough? Okay, you guys see from there? Good. Okay, understand. There's certain things that you guys are fortunate enough. I think Frank and I have been doing this for a lot of it. We've been tweaking it and they get better and better and better. I think this is the final stage. Basically, he wrote a book on this stuff. So guys, the book is coming up.
2 months.
In 2 months, the book's up. So we're going to basically tag team it. I'm going to give Mike the microphone because he has a better English than I do. He looks better than I do. Okay? Correct, Frank? Say that, Frank.
You look better, but I have better English.
No, it's one of the company's 3 francs. 4? It's actually 4 francs.
Big Frank.
That's scary. 4 francs in the company. We call the 4 F's, right? I want to give it to Frank. Okay, so it's straight to you, like I told you. I'm a real estate broker. I have about 185 people working for me. I have 5 successful schools, real estate schools. I have a mortgage school, finance school. Okay, I teach finance, I teach bank, I teach real estate, I teach insurance, I teach any metro all over the United States. Okay, and as well as seminars, I get invited to a lot of public speaking. And one thing I do understand is the value of knowledge. You guys think knowledge is power? Yes. Is that correct? Knowledge is power? Yes. And you guys, I congratulate all of you to be here today. You know what I mean? Because everyone looks for something. I see a lot of people, they spend thousands and thousands of dollars on rich schemes quicks. Buy this, get rich, buy this, come to a seminar, pay me $3,000, $4,000 for this thing you get. Come out of this, it's not real. It's not real. And there was a conversation before I heard that, I wish you said it, that somebody bought a property, it was a scam. Okay, who was it said about it was a scam? You said, okay, you said it was a scam. That somebody bought the property was not real, correct? Was a scam. Well, basically, as a scam, because people don't follow it. There's certain things, real estate in New Jersey. If you buy a property out of state, you have 7 days to go to the property, cancel, with no questions asked. That's the law. Okay. Yes, I'm also I teach real estate. In real estate, I don't know as much as an attorney. Okay, because I do teach real estate. Okay, so certain things that people don't do, they don't follow. They think they go into these TV shows and they see like this. That's why people get hurt. Okay, Frank, you ready?
Yep.
Ready to go?
Ready.
Excited?
Yep.
Is you making money? I'm gonna make it make money or what?
We're gonna make money.
You're gonna make it money, right? We have to, right? Because if you guys are gonna kick us out of here, right?
Yeah.
Correct? All right.
Thank you. So, before we even get started, I didn't even know what I was coming to today because Frank's like, hey, you gotta come speak at this thing, and I didn't know the bishop was doing, I didn't know anything, I just know I was speaking. And at the end of my presentation, I quote 2 scriptures from the Bible. One is Esther 4:14, which is made for a time like this. And so, we're speaking the same language. I gotta say, Why am I made for a time like this? Because I bought and sold 20 properties in my life. I own a mortgage bank, and there's not a lot of people that invest in real estate and understand the financing piece. When people invest in real estate, they have no idea what they're doing, including me when I bought my first property because my family offered it to me because my grandma got sick and they had to sell the house to pay for the nursing home. And I said, okay, I'll buy it. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, but like these guys talk about, I just had the confidence or dumbness to get involved, and then it grew from there. So this presentation is really stemmed from 20 years, and there's times where I failed when I got outside the formula, when I got egotistical and prideful. Because before I was saved, I was very prideful. And, well, we got all that every day, still. But you'll see, and I want you to have your thinking caps on, because there's some charts and some graphs, and you're not going to retain all of it because you're not a computer. And I have invitations to the full-blown seminar. This is a mini seminar on April 17th at the Hyatt Morristown that I'll give you guys. It's free, no charge, and you will be fired up because it's how to buy 3 properties and retire in 20 years with $12,000 to $15,000 a month in cash flow. So here we go. All right, so that's my family. Yes, the dog is 80 pounds. And I have 5 kids and a beautiful wife. And like I say here, when the spreadsheet looks nice, we're going to talk about yield, we're going to talk about cash flow, then the property is worthy of going to see. You don't buy a property for, oh, it's a cool mountain, oh, I want to go to the beach. That's all nonsense. Cash flow is the only thing that matters. Okay, so we'll get to that. So today we're going to talk about how we're going to lay the foundation first to manage liabilities. The gentleman over there talked about credit. If you don't pay your bills properly, you can make $2 million a year and be broke. I know, because I'm doing a loan for a doctor right now, and I'm not kidding you guys. He makes $95,000 a month. And I almost couldn't get the loan approved, because he's got $217,000 balance on a car. I mean, granted, it's probably a really nice car, but who needs a $3,000 car payment? I almost can't get the guy a loan. We just, by the skin of our teeth, are getting to be able to approve it. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to buy 3 properties in 3 years using the bank's money. Listen to this one. We're going to use the bank's money to buy the property and use the tenant's money to pay off your property. Okay? So let's talk about the pattern in America. The average credit card debt in America is $21,000, the average household. That's the average of the savings rate if you put money in a savings account, 0.085%, not very good. The average 30-year fixed mortgage over the last 10 years is 4.6%. This is why I moved you all over, so you're going to start seeing some charts. And the average of the S&P 500 is 10.29%. Here's what America does. They carry this, they pay extra on the mortgage to get rid of that, which makes no sense because that's a lower cost. If they ever save money, they put it here, and they never invest here. So right off the bat, we're all screwed up when it comes to finances. We got to get our mind right? Romans 12:2. We got to get our mind right first. So, and here's also what we do. We get a job. We put money in a 401k, if anything. We buy a single family or condo, which I did too. We have a kid or two. We start putting money in a 529. Then we panic when our children are in high school because we realize the 529 didn't get us there. And we start taking student loans out in either our name and theirs. And that's a whole nother scam, which I talk about in my book. And then when our kids graduate college, we're like, wow, we put our kids through college. And now we're 55 years old and we're broke for retirement. Problem, right? Hamster wheel. That's the cycle the government has us on. So also, let's talk about 401k. If we put $600 a month, by the way, that's a lot of money, every month into 401k, or $7,200 a year at an 8% return with a 1.5% cost, we save $715,000. That's a lot of money. But in retirement, $715,000 at a 5% distribution in an annuity only gives us $35,000 in retirement a year. Not enough. If we only earn 5% on the same amount of money, it's only $383,000. Okay? I promise, after, this is the depressing part, you're going to be fired up when I'm done. So, then we ask ourselves, where will Social Security be? Where's our 401k right now? How much cash do we have saved? Do we have credit card debt? Will our primary residence be paid off? And do we have permanent life insurance? These are all questions as we sit there, we're going, wow, I got some holes in my plan. And we all do, so don't feel bad. So who am I talking to when I do these seminars? Group 1, people that don't own a home yet. Okay? Cool. Group 2, they own a home already, and they're either interested in investing in real estate, and by the end of my seminars, even if they thought they weren't interested in investing in real estate, most people are going to be like, wow, I want it. Let me give you an example. 52-year-old person, worked at New York Life their whole life, they saved $500,000 in their 401k, and they get fired because they just hired a 22-year-old for 80% cheaper. That person is in trouble because they can't find another job. But I'll show them how to invest in real estate and parlay that into monthly rent rolls and profits. And then group 3 is a real estate investor. And even the real estate investors, I have people come to me with $5 million in properties and they're broke because they don't know how to manage their money. They don't know how to distribute the money amongst the rental properties and have cash flow. So I teach them how to be better real estate investors. So anybody that comes to my seminar, whether they're 22 years old and they got their first job, or they're 55 years old and they do properties left and right, we help them get better at it. All right, so bank's money, tenant's money, you guys got that already? In the end, you're going to have cash flow, real estate assets, and you'll be leaving a legacy to your family. Why real estate? So if we give a financial, this is not a trick question. Let's see who's listening. If we give the financial planner $200,000, how much is that? Not a trick question. Yeah, I just have fun with that. All right. So, but if you have $200,000, how much real estate can you buy? At least $1 million, maybe more, and I'll show you why. If that $200,000 earns 5%, that's $10,000 a year. But if the $1 million in real estate earns 5%, it's $50,000 a year. Same money, you're just leveraging the money better. Now, if you have $1 million at 5% return, you get $50,000 a year. But if you have $1 million, you can buy $5 million worth of real estate and get $250,000 a year. The leverage of the bank's money, okay? And it does not include compounding rate of interest, which I'm going to explain later. That's cool, right? Good graphic. If you have $1 million, why not buy $5 million worth of real estate? So this is how many people own investment properties? Nobody yet? Okay, a couple of you do, yeah. You're doing great. So there's something called depreciation, which you might know already with your accountants. But what happens with the typical real estate investor? Say they get a rental property, they're making $10,000 a year. And they come to me and they go, oh, I make $80,000 a year on W-2. But they write off the repairs, which hurts their income. So when they go to buy another property, I'm like, you don't really make 80, you make 70, and that might hurt for the future. There's something called depreciation that your accountant can do. They can depreciate the property 1/27th a year for 27 years to offset the gain on the real estate. So say you make $10,000 on the property, but you depreciate it by $10,000, you have no gain, you pay no tax to the IRS. Here's why this is awesome. We, as underwriters, give back depreciation so it doesn't go against income. So that's one thing I teach real estate investors that changes their life, because they come to me thinking they're making 80 grand. Some of them really are making 40 because their accountant does some magic and they're happy because they didn't pay the IRS. Guess what? They can't buy that investment property. So I coach them on depreciation, which is a really cool thing. Okay? You have one property, 20% down if the property carries itself, meaning if the rent's $3,000 and the mortgage is $3,000, we can lend. That might not mean anything to you guys, but Frank will tell you, for the last 10 years, this product didn't exist. It was either prove money on your tax returns or you're out. So this one, if the property breaks even, we can lend money without tax returns. So that's an awesome product. Now, has anybody heard of a self-directed IRA? No. This is cool too. Take that 55-year-old that works at New York Life and lost their job. The 401k goes to an IRA, right? The IRA is sitting in the bank. He doesn't know what to do with it. He can buy the property with the money from the IRA by taking it out of the IRA, tax-free and penalty-free, and buy real estate. So he can actually take that money, buy two properties for $250 each that have cash flow. Now all of a sudden he's bringing in $5,000 a month in cash flow, where that money was just sitting in the IRA, playing with the Dow Jones, which goes up and down like you're going to Las Vegas. Right, so what happens is, the only catch to that is you can't finance any portion of the property, so you got to pay cash for the property. So it is somebody that has to have a lot of money in cash to buy the property. You cannot finance any portion. But the self-directed IRA is a seminar and a book unto itself. So that's a cool program. Also, when somebody does have real estate investing experience, we have what they call fix and flip lines. Fix and flip line is that we can fund 80 to 85% of the acquisition and the renovation. So say one of you find a foreclosure, we can pretty much give you 80 to 85% of the money. You got to come out of pocket 15% of the money to fix the property up. Does that make sense? Now, so imagine if you found the foreclosure, you use the fix and flip line, and one day after completion, the property is worth $60,000 or $80,000 more because maybe it was a foreclosure and the house was a little wrecked, then you fixed it up and it looks nice. We could give 80% of the new value. Next slide is an example of that. And I know I'm going fast, by the way. You can ask questions if you get, because I go fast. I want to pack you with information, get you fired up, but if you have questions, just raise your hand. So now, say we buy a property for $150,000, okay? We do $50,000 worth of work. You have to come out of pocket $40,000, okay? But now, after it's done, it's worth $280,000. And I'm a long-term buy and hold guy. I think in the fix and flip game, you can lose money as quick as you can make money. I'm a long-term buy and hold guy. So now,
If 80% of the new value is of 280, that's 224. So you can take all your money back
And put $24,000 in your pocket, minus a few closing costs. So who wants to own real estate where all you gotta do is borrow money from yourself or your neighbor and own it for nothing, right? He'll tell you, this did not exist. The times such as this, is these loan programs have all come back now from the hedge funds, and this will not be around forever. So you can get a foreclosure, put money into it, take 80%, take your money back. Yes, sir.
So is that similar to the 203K loan?
Yes. So we do a lot of seminars on that. This is actually a fix and flip line for investors. A 203K loan is an owner-occupied renovation loan, okay? I didn't have it in this because it's a mini version of the big seminar, but I'll explain it real quick. So FHA is owner-occupied only, right? Everyone thinks an FHA loan is a first-time home buyer loan. It's not. You could get 20 FHA loans in your life. You just can't have two at the same time, okay? So say, for example, you were buying this property to live in, okay? You could get $150 to buy it, $50,000 to renovate it, and say you're in it for $200. You could put 3.5% down of $200. So you can actually do this project if you were going to live in it for $6,000, $7,000. Okay. Now we're 203K renovation lenders. Everything's done in my office. My underwriters are right there. We close the loan. We sell it after. There's a program, and I'm going to hand out these flyers that we have called 3, 2, 1 and done, which I'll explain in the end because it's like the big punch in the ribs at the end to really get you excited. That we talk about using the renovation loan, because imagine buying a 3-family to live in that's in bad shape. You use the 203K to make the property perfect. You get higher rents, you live in it for a year, which I'll talk about, and then you move on to the next property. So that's the golden goose right there. Why? Because with the FHA 203K, if you don't already own real estate, you can be in your first investment property for 3.5% down. That's amazing product. So,
How many families can I buy?
what's that?
How many families can I buy?
How many families?
Yeah, on a 2-3K. How many property minimum one family? 1 or 4 through.
Oh, up to 4 unit. So 3, 4, 2, or 1.
I'll pick them on it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he gets me every time. Right. So, thinking caps. Are you guys ready to think?
Yes.
Okay. So say you have a little money, or you have a friend with a little money, and you're going to get involved in real estate. Here's how you evaluate if a property is a good deal or not. Okay, so this is an investment property.
So say a property needs $70,000 down on a 350 purchase, okay, 20%. Make sense? The principal and interest, pity is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. $2,210, but you're getting $3,000 in rent. Say it's a 2-family, right? You make $790 a month. That makes sense. You take the $790 times 12,
And it's $9,480 a year in profit. Okay? You with me?
you take the $9,480, you divide it into the 350, and that's a 13.5% yield.
You can take a picture of this slide if you want. I'll just charge you $1 when you walk out. Give me $1. But it's worth $1 million, so it's good for you guys to give me the $1.
Right, now if you include the tenant paying off the loan for you,
There's another $4,321 being paid off the loan by the tenant, because that's an amortization, and that's a 19.7% yield.
okay? If you pay an additional
$350 a month,
the loan's paid off in 20 years, right? Your initial down payment is paid back in 7.3 years,
and by year 20, you're gonna have $4,000 in rent. Okay? So my formula is 11.5% or more on yield. Go look at the property. If it has 4% in yield, don't look at the property. Why? Because 11.5% or more not only adjusts for a vacancy factor, but it also allows you to pay that property off in 20 years, and maybe 15 years. Because not all of us in the room are 22 years old, including Frank. I'm actually 22 years old. He's not. So some of us don't have 30 years to pay a property off, right? So we want to pay them off in 20 or 15 to enjoy our life on Frank's yacht in Florida.
Yeah.
All right, any questions about this? Okay, cool. Like I said, you're not going to retain it all, but
you can come to the other seminar, and you could always consult with us. Now, so what's the plan? Buy 3 properties using the traditional yield method, or buy 3 properties using wholesale or hard money, or use an IRA. And for the millennials, okay, you ready for this isn't the end, but do you want me to give you the punch now or later? It's a good punch. You want it now? Okay. So this is called, here, pass these out. I have plenty for everybody. This is called 3, 2, 1 and done, okay? I actually bought the domain name, and people actually think it's a loan program now. They're calling my office and they're like, hey, can we do the 3, 2, 1 and done? We're like, of course. It's not actually a loan program, it's a marketing idea. We're teaching people how to buy a 3-family, owner-occupied, 3.5% down. Okay? Take a $400,000 loan, for example. You can use a 203K to renovate the property. And on a $400,000 property, you're out of pocket 12 grand. Okay? You live in it 1 year. Then in year 2, Freddie Mac has a product that allows you to move out of the 3 into the 2 and put 5% down. Okay? Live in that a year. And then Fannie Mae has a loan program that allows you to put 3% down. So it's $1.05 million worth of real estate for less than $40,000. No joke. No joke. And I'm not the smartest guy even in this room, but I was the only guy that went, wait a minute. FHA, Freddie, Fannie, we can actually put this together, and I'm telling you, we're getting 50 phone calls a day in our office.
It's better.
You could even do a 4.
VA loan, no percent first on the VA loan.
That's right. Oh, well, right, that's another thing. He's smarter than me. So the VA loans, if you're a veteran, is a 0 down loan. So now you're going to make me change my presentation. Do you own a single family now? Yeah.
It's like 5
So, yeah, so here's what happens. The reason why 3, 2, 1 and done, my underwriter believes when you say, because you got to really live there, it can't be fraud, right? So they're like, okay, you live in a 3 now, I believe you that you're going to move to a 2, and I believe you that you're going to move to a 1. So there's a lot of occupancy fraud in the mortgage industry, so people, like, will call me up, they'll own a single family, and they're like, I'm going to buy a 3-family, and I'm going to live in it. And I'm like, my underwriter's not going to believe you, because no one really goes from a 1 to a 3. You go from a 3 to a 2 to a 1. So individual situations like job change, you move to a different town for better schools, you may be able to go from place A to place B, and I can convince my underwriters that it makes sense. We are a HUD lender, so we have to indemnify every single deal we do. So if I give you a mortgage and you default on it, I have to write a check for $50,000 to HUD. So we have to make sure that the borrowers are legitimately going to live in the property, because HUD has actually knocked on doors. But the 3, the 2, the 1, and if you add his VA loan in there, you got $1 million worth of real estate for less than $40,000. And the millennials are tackling me at the end of these seminars because the millennials are smart. They make money, but what don't they do? They don't save money. So like, wait a minute, I can get $1 million. So why is real estate better than any other investment in the world? Because we're using the leverage of the bank's money, right? 97%, 90%, 80% to buy the asset. So when the financial planner earns you 7%, it's dollar for dollar. When I earn you 4%, it's on the higher asset. So that's why Donald Trump's president, not because he's got a good hair piece, because he understood the power of real estate. Question.
What about the rent-to-buy options? Like, you know how last time I was saying, well, you can, yeah, that's it. You can like rent the apartment, let's say, for example, $750 a month, and after 5 years, then X, Y, what about those?
It's a better idea than it never usually happens. Like the seller, if they want to sell now. And like it's more of a.
Is it like a scam?
It's more of an idea than anything. Like here's what you do: you get your credit fixed up, you save the first 3.5%, you move in your 3-family, you save your money. Because remember, if the property doesn't have the right yield, if it doesn't have the right cash flow, I'm going to tell you not to buy it. So what's the yield on an investment property when you only put 3.5% down? Remember, my yield calculation is a 20% down yield. So if you put 3.5% down of a 3-family for 400 grand, the yield's off the charts. The yield's like
38%. Why? Because you have so little money into it. So all of those things, guy holding the note, rent option to buy, it's all nonsense.
Hold on.
In the rent to own, first of all, you gotta put month and a half security deposit down, plus you must first next month, and maybe also pay brokerage fee. Technically, you have the money to put down in a house on 3%. So why rent to buy?
One other question. Somerset County has it where you can, sometimes they have like a foreclosure, what do you want to call it? Like, not a fix. Like when you...
Sheriff's office.
Yeah, that's the word.
Not just, every county has it.
Yeah, they all have it.
So, okay, well, I know that, but I'm just saying, so Somerset County has an auction sale, and you have, let's say, $4,000, and I get, let's say, I get approved for that, but I know it needs to be fixed. I already purchased it. Could I come to you guys with, like, horrible credit and say, I need $30,000 to fix it?
If you got horrible credit, you see that guy right there?
Before today.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine. You want to just tell them about the 203K?
Basically, simple. We have so many programs. That 2-3K program. We have what you call it, Deliverance, which is up to $35,000.
Okay.
It's quickly, one shot. We've actually, I closed the GFL when we write that closing, up to $35,000. If it's no more than that, then it's go to 4K.
Full-blown, yeah.
Full-blown pay means above $35,000. You give anything you want. Owns the property qualifies for the value that you're asking for. You understand that? So up north in Jersey, up to $724,000 loan amount, complete purchase and loan amount. Okay, that means that's how much they give you. So if the house costs you $500,000, you can spend up to $224 for renovations, and loans the property qualifies for the value. Make sense?
All right. So that goes along the lines of, at our big seminars, a friend of ours, his name is George Khalil, owns, talk about crazy believer, this guy, when we talk about the Bible, he goes to heal people at the malls, and he really is healing people, which is another story.
I know George.
You know George, right? Yeah, I've seen you, I think, down there at the Flippin' NJ office. Yeah, so George is awesome, and he looks like he goes to the gym more than I do, he's all jacked up. But here's the point with George. George, I have 5 kids, so I have an excuse. George, they buy a lot of properties at auctions, and we all think, oh, I want to fix her up, or I want to buy properties at auctions. The reality is that you have to be a heavy real estate investor to understand that game. But what they do is he's got a whole team of people that find these properties, and they'll make a wholesale fee, and they'll sell it to you to live in, and then we do a renovation loan to fix up the property. Let me explain a little something about banking. It's not in the presentation, but I want you to understand this. When you go to get a loan, and we do an appraisal, the property has to have utilities turned on, no holes in walls, it's got to be totally habitable. If it's not habitable, then we can't lend. So the renovation loan, the 203K, allows you to close on that property and hire a contractor, and we give you the money to fix up the property. So a lot of times what happens when George and his team find a property, they're like, all right, well, it's not habitable, and we go, make your fee, I have a buyer for you, we'll do a renovation loan, and you can design your own dream home. So that's part of the presentation as well. But like my man was talking about, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. What's your? Oh, Dwayne, that's right. How did I forget that? It's like the pharmacy. Yeah. The credit, it's the most important thing, because the difference, another quick story and then I'll finish with this. I have a buddy who makes a lot of money who just feels like arguing with banks and car companies, and he got into an argument over a $1,500 trade-in on his truck, and he came to buy a house. You got a loan from me for $700,000. Great. Got money to put down. One problem. He had a $1,500 judgment on his credit report. So the interest rate went from me being able to get him 4.5 to getting him 5.5. Now, he owes $1,500. He got an argument. The difference on that rate, we're going to probably refi him when he gets his credit up. But the difference of those payments, on that loan, is $400 a month. And the difference over the life of the loan is $120,000. So it's like, arguing doesn't get us anywhere. Like, you better work it out before the vendor slaps a judgment on you, because once they slap a judgment, you're going to get a bad interest rate on your car or your house or anything. So without credit, we don't have anything. And I could say this because my grandfather was off the boat from Italy, but a lot of the people come off, and they come to America and they're like, cash. I just do everything cash. I'm like, all right, well, fine. But you're not playing the game the way America's asking you to. Meaning, if you don't have credit, you're psychologically screwed up, and then you're physically screwed up because you're getting bad interest rates. And if you get good interest rates, and people want to lend you money, that's when you get the leverage of this to get wealthy. So let me get back to this. All right, so the plan is to figure out how to buy 3 investment properties, okay? Primary residence, and with the right properties, we'll have $1,800 to $2,400 a month in cash flow above and beyond the mortgage payments that are due. So what's the American dream first? Pay off your primary residence, right? So what I want you to do when you get your first get into a home for maybe 3.5% down. But then when you get your investment property, we're going to take the cash flow here and we're going to pay out here. We're going back to that. Right? So we're going to take the extra money, and it's not a lot of money, right? To go from 30 years to 20 years payoff on a $280,000 loan, it's only $300 a month more. Your tenant's giving it to you anyway. You have the cash flow from the tenant. Okay? And still, you still have $550 to $1,150 a month left over if you buy the right property. Now, with that $550 to $1,150 a month, should you buy a Maserati?
Yes.
I think that doctor's car was a Maserati. All right, now, thinking cap again. If you have a two-family, two-unit property, say it's a two-family, and you bring in $36,000 in rent, $3,000 a month, right? Each rent is $1,500. Who can guess in 20 years, at a 2.5% inflation rate, what that rent will be 20 years from now? Whoever guesses gets free admission to my seminar on April 17th. It's already free. Anybody guess what it will look like in 20 years? 36,000 today, 2.5% inflation, compounding value of interest.
22 each, so 44.
So
Per year.
don't feel bad. We're not computers. Our minds can't even compute this.
Yeah, say 52.
Were you at my seminar? I think you were.
No, wait, that's what he does. That's
What do you
what
do?
he
Your financial plan?
Yes, that's what
Yeah. We're gonna do rules of 72 in a minute. Yeah. So look, $53,000, 20 years later.
Now, let me ask you guys a question.
Have taxes ever gone down in New Jersey, property taxes? No. So here's what I did. I adjusted upward for property taxes because that's just inevitable. But what happens to rents that go up and the 30-year fixed mortgage stays the same? We make more money. Because our fixed payment versus rising revenue. Okay, now, do I want you to pay it off in 30? No. Watch what happens. We do the same thing by paying $350 a month extra, and we pay this property off in 20. Now look at 20 years from now. $53,000 in rent, $14,000 in taxes, $39,000 in our pocket on one property. Remember the $600 a month our whole life, which gives us $35,000 a year in retirement? You guys can get into a property for 3.5% down, move out in a year, and have it paid off in 20 years and make 40 grand a year in rent. This isn't me selling hot air. There's a lot of like real estate seminars out there, a lot of guys on YouTube. I'm not full of hot air. This is a mathematical equation. I do it myself. I teach it to hundreds of people. If you follow the structure and the math, you will be wealthy in 20 years. It's just how do you get fixed up to be able to get your first couple properties? Look at year 30. $62,000, $45,000 net.
Wow.
One property. Okay? So, well, properties are too expensive in New Jersey. I don't want to buy in New Jersey. Okay, let's talk about college towns. Little tip. There's southern schools like in Florida, in South Carolina, in North Carolina, where you can buy properties for, where is it?
Right there.
$80,000 to $140,000. And what's the big difference in the South? The property taxes are nothing. The property taxes are $1,800 a year. So, do you know by University of Florida, you can get $700 to $800 per student, 4 students who live in a single-family house, guaranteed by the credit and security deposit of the parents who are sending the kids to college. And if they break the laws, I don't care because the parents are buying a new sheetrock. I really don't care. And what happens is, you can make $17,000 to $20,000 a year. Why is this beautiful? Because on a $120,000 purchase, you only have to put down 20 grand. Where in New Jersey, If you buy something for 400, it's a lot more money. So college towns, once you get your first 3 or 2 that you live in and you got a little cash, you go buy in some college towns because the yields are through the roof. Make sense? Now, we talk about fear real quick. Everyone's like, well, I don't want to be a landlord. Anybody have a job that's perfect? Anybody? Nobody. I don't either. Do you want to have a side job that's a little bit of a pain in the neck? By the way, you can use management companies, but do you want to have a side job that if you do it right, will guarantee to make you a millionaire in 20 years? I do, right? It's real. So let's talk about the rules of 72 for my financial planner friend, right? So this is if you take the interest rate that you're earning, say you're earning 4%, and you divide it into 72. That's how long it takes your money to double, okay? So if you have $100,000 and you earn 4%, in 18 years that money will be $200,000. Remember the property we bought for $350? That doubles in 18 years and is now worth $700. Okay? Now, remember something. The way I teach people is yield, cash flow is everything. I actually don't care about depreciation. Why? Because who doesn't trust their children with money? My kids are like little, so I can say that. So what I teach people to do is put that real estate in a trust where generation after generation can't even sell it. Because once it's paid off in 20 years, all it's going to do is feed family after family after family. So that's what I talk about. So I don't really care what the value is, because we're going to pay off the real estate, we're going to keep it in trust, and we're just going to get the cash flow. Okay? Now, so here we're on a journey. We're all in this room today, right? Whatever our credit situation is, whatever our financial situation is, it doesn't matter. Because the first thing you do is make a decision to make a change, make a difference in your life. And then you come see me and you follow the formula, and it's going to happen for you if you want it to happen. I know 70% of the room when I speak isn't going to do anything, but that's okay. I'm doing my part and introducing it to them. And the people that want it, right, you lead a horse to water if you can't make them drink. The people who want to drink the water, this is an opportunity. So here's how we look in 20 years. We own a primary, now, just as an example, someone owns a primary and they figured out a way to get 3 properties, okay? Primary residence today, $450,000 value. 3 rental properties purchased at $350,000 today. Could take a couple years, but let's just say. A 4% return compounding year over year. It doubles in 18 years each property. So each of our rental properties 20 years from now will be worth $700. Remember, we bought them for $350.
Wow.
By year 18, the total value of our rental properties is $2.1 million. By year 18, the total value of our primary residence is $900,000. By year 20, all of our properties are paid off using the tenant's money. And we have $12,000 to $15,000 a month in residual income after we pay property taxes. So, $12,000 to $15,000 a month is your possible future, and a total net worth of $3 million. Who wants to be that person? Right? I do. And that is the definition of wealth. Yes, ma'am?
Let me ask you a question. I see that you say we can, is that 4% down? 4% on 3, say 4?
3.5 on FHA if you're going to live in it.
And is that the same for multifamily or are you talking?
Yes, with FHA you can buy a 4-unit, a 3-unit, or a 2-unit, or a 1-unit with 3.5% down. Yeah.
Doesn't FHA has that higher interest or is it lower? That's for first time buyers or not?
Yeah, great question. Do you want to work for my company as a loan officer?
I actually just finished school.
Yeah.
I learned my state.
Oh, it's awesome. Oh, good. So, the interest rates are very good. FHA loans have mortgage insurance payments built in monthly. Whenever you put less than 20% down, you have mortgage insurance. So the FHA rates right now are like in the low to mid 4s. So it's like, you know, if say you borrowed $300,000, the monthly MI would be about $200 a month. But remember, there's an FHA rule. You guys want me to get a little technical with you for a minute? Yeah. A little nugget? I'm not even charging $1 for this one. So with FHA, here's how it works. On a 3 and 4 family property, say the rents, FHA assumes that you're going to move out of that 3 family at some point and move into a 2 or a 1. And they're okay with it. They just want you to live there for a year. They take the total rent when you move out, say it's $4,000 a month, okay? We hit you for 75% or 25% of the $4,000, which equals 3. Okay, so 75% of $4,000 is $3,000. The $3,000 has to carry the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance on the mortgage payment. If it doesn't, we can't lend you money for FHA. Why is that awesome? Because it automatically, if it passes the FHA rule, becomes an amazing investment property. Why? Because if it passes the rule, you have $1,000 a month in cash flow. Okay, so don't worry too much about the MI because tenants are paying for it for you anyway. Make sense?
Okay, question, does it work on an FHA? Can you go conventional with this program, and does it work?
You can go Freddie Mac with a 3 or 4 unit owner occupied. It's 5% down. The problem with Freddie Mac is it's much more sensitive on interest rate for credit score. Meaning FHA, if you have a 640 credit score or a 720 credit score, you're getting the same rate. With Freddie Mac, the interest rate is very dependent. It's 740, 720, 700, 680. Every 20 points, your rate gets higher. And the mortgage insurance on the 3 and 4 unit, real quick, government insures FHA loans. Genworth, HMI, and other outside companies insure Fannie and Freddie loans. So what happens is, it's very dependent on credit score and income. So if you have a 740 credit score, and you have good reserves, and you have a good job, it may work, Freddie, but most of the time, FHA is a better deal monthly on the payment. So the answer is yes, and then we just look at the scenario for the client. We're FHA, Fannie, and Freddie lenders in-house, so we do all three.
Now, what advice would you give someone who is a business owner who wants to start to invest in property, whether it's land or physical or a house property or something?
So I didn't put it in this presentation, but we actually have a 12-month business bank statement program for a self-employed borrower. Here's how that works. Say you bring in $20,000 a month of business, but you only show $30,000 on your tax returns, right? You don't really qualify for as much with $30,000. We can actually take half of the $20,000 that you bring in, give you credit for 10, and not use your tax returns. So, yeah, and the cool thing about that is, say, I always use the plumber as an example. Say a guy is a plumber, and he brings in $20,000 to the business. I can give him credit for $10,000 to qualify. And his wife's a school teacher. I could actually use her W-2 income in conjunction with his gross receipts. So for self-employed, we have programs like that now that didn't exist until a year ago.
And what's the interest rate?
So the Fannie Freddie FHA loans are in the 4s now. On a product like that, it's more like mid-6s, because you got to pay the piper somehow. If you're going to cheat the IRS, you're going to pay higher on your loans. You know, the government's going to get you one way or another. That's just how it goes. But actually, the hedge funds are the ones offering this product. And I'm not here to talk about the IRS because I don't need to be wearing an orange jumpsuit. But I can make an argument. I can make an argument that you're better off not paying an extra 20 grand in taxes because you got to show a lot more money and just taking the higher rate, because the higher rate might be $300 a month. But so yeah, change that subject. Do you have a question? Yeah.
You missed a couple of zeros there, man.
My marketing girl just got fired because you brought that. Do you have any marketing experience? I have it all.
We went on 5 minutes.
I'm going to try and sing right now like you did. No. So thank you for that. I'm going to throw the projector in the garbage. So 2 more slides and then we're done, because I know I'm boring the heck out of you guys. Here's we're buying 3 properties. In this example, it's 3 properties for $50,000 each. But if we do the 3, 2, 1 and done, this is a shortened version of the presentation that I did last week. Why? Because there was 4 other loan officers in the room. Yeah. So I took out my 3, 2, 1 and done, because I didn't want they'll steal my data. So now you buy 3 properties. Here's what it does for you: $28,440 in year 1 in cash flow. That's after mortgage payments. $284,000 in 10 years in cash flow, $568,000 in 20 years, $998,000 in 30 years, $1,998 in 50 years. And remember the children that we didn't trust? We put it in a trust, and it's lasting to perpetuity because we don't ever let them sell it. Okay? So the first quote I did was Proverbs 15:22, because plans fail for lack of counsel, but many advisors, they succeed. And then I said to my wife in bed one day, I'm like, that's good, but I need something better. And The same day she read the Esther 4:14, she goes, I think this is a good one. My buddy actually said it to me 2 days later. I got this really cool verse, and I was like, wow, God's speaking to me about helping people because I've done it well, I've done it poorly, but now we're going to do it right. And it's not like everybody thinks you got to invest in 100 properties. You don't. It's 3 properties, 20 years with the right yield. Now, you guys see this 3, 2, 1 and done thing? Can I borrow this for a second? This is if you didn't get one, I have more in the trunk. This is the QR code. If you hover your camera over the QR code, it'll bring you to the Eventbrite invitation.
And it's free.
And it's free, except for him, he's paying. And it'll literally come up on the top of your screen if you have a smartphone, and you can just fill out your name. I'd love to see you guys there. Do I have anything else? Let's see. Yeah, so there she is. That's the 4th. Perhaps you were born for such a time like this. In 90 days, I'm launching a real estate coaching program, which is going to go from the seminar to a 2-day boot camp to a monthly coaching system. And because what happens is, we only make money if we do loans, and my time is valuable, so I want to help educate people, but I have to charge a little bit for the coaching program because some people are that far away from getting real estate. Some people are real close, and with credit and with coaching, we get you guys there.
Right.
Any other questions?
It would come out of Jersey, go to other states.
We're going to start. So my company is licensed in California, Florida, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Maryland, Delaware. So we're going to start. I have a branch in Sarasota, Florida. What I have trained my guys to do is get the owner of a real estate company on the phone. I sell them on coming and speaking to the realtors, as long as there's 30 or 40 realtors in the room. Get them excited to bring 1 or 2 of their millennials, especially, because the millennials can go 3, 2, 1 and done. And then we're changing people's lives. So we use the real estate offices to be a feeder to the big seminar, and we're helping people. I earn a good living. I'm blessed with that. But this seminar is because I need to give back what I have experienced, and I need to help people, because America's got a problem, and that's retirement. We all have a problem. This is the only way to do it. I don't believe in any other system other than buying real estate, and as I said, you only have to buy 3 properties. So thank you guys.
Let me see your reality to you guys. Do you actually know there's a survey that said that's 44% of the American public going to get $1,000 to pay their bills? 44%. That's scary. The people are paycheck to paycheck. And I'll tell you before, why you be first, you think of yourself first. I bought my property back in 2000, people back in 2006 and they crashed. People say, Frank, you're crazy. Your house is worth half of it now. Yeah, but my rent is always up there. Well, why can't the property was making money? Make sense? So don't worry about the value, worry about you want. Like you said, it doesn't matter how much you make it, what's important how much you have. You understand that? Guys, I thank you. It was a pleasure. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you.